Coach, your familiarity with the staff, how much does that play into preparation or anything like that?
Well, I think it helps you a bit, but we have different teams, so it's different, yet there's a history there, and they know us a bit and probably helps them. We know them a bit, but it's going to be about who does their stuff and who executes and who's going to make adjustments. We're both different than we were the last time we faced each other, so the familiarity is kind of fun and interesting, but it also keeps you on edge, how they're going to adjust, and you want to learn how they're different now that they're in a different place.
Historically, what's been kind of the MO of a Craig Bowl team?
Very well coached. They do a very good job. Special teams, they've always been very good in special teams, and I really think have done a good job of changing field position, whether it's in the return game or been very solid at the kicking game, just don't make mistakes. And then offensively, they're going to play very physical, and you better be ready for an entire game of physical football. And defensively, just don't make mistakes. They've been well coached, and that's what we see. The video that we have of 2014, it's a team that doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes, and I'm sure in their second year, they're going to be even better and more sound at what they do.
Coach, how's this team developed from the beginning of fall camp? What do you see as the biggest difference from the start of camp up until now, or game week now?
Well, I think we're have been better at communication on defense. We really challenged our guys early in camp to communicate better, and now that you're working on an opponent and game planning, I think it's still difficult, all the things that our opponent will show us, but it limits a little bit what you're doing, rather than installing your entire package against your own offense, so hopefully that continues to get better throughout this week. Offensively, we've better at execution. Now we've named a quarterback, so we're working more reps there and more comfortable with who's taking the snaps, and we get more of those reps with the entire unit working together.
Coach, game one, you've been there as a player, back when you were playing days as a coach. Is it basically always like a kid on Christmas, basically, that type of excitement level, not only with the players and the staff heading into game one?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. The difference is players get to go run around and can expend some physical energy. That's what's difficult about coaching. You stand there and you watch, but it's still exciting. That's why we do this, and that's why we stay in it for as long as we have. And I know our staff's very excited about working together for the second year. It's much different this opener than a year ago. Now we've been together. We have everybody back from a year ago, and we've been together an entire season last year. A lot of unknowns. When we went out to play an opening game, we had never really coached together. So I wouldn't say it's a comfort level, but being familiar with each other and know how we operate a little bit better gives us much better focus going into this game.
Hi, Coach. I know you haven't hit the field yet this week, but what do you expect the practice intensity to be like in a game week rather than preseason camp?
Well, we hope the focus is at a higher level. We've presented a plan to the guys at this point, and we'll keep tweaking that plan as we see fit, but we really hope our focus is much better. Our energy's been pretty good at practice. I think we need that to continue, but our physical effort has been pretty good. We need that to continue, and just need a much better focused mental effort on the practice field for the next few days.
Looking ahead to the end of the week when you have to travel and all those sorts of things, what do you have to tell the guys in order to face some of those challenges that come with going a distance like that?
Yeah, we'll have 25 or more going on their first trip for UND, so that's always the unknown for those guys, but we try to get into a routine and tell them about the routine and keep them informed as much as possible about what it's going to be like. And but really the players, physically it's our job to prepare them physically, and mentally our job, and then emotionally we want to be ready at 2 o'clock Mountain Time on Saturday, and that's their job. But you try to help them prepare for that also, because we can't be too jacked up too early. We got to be focused mentally and really work on the game plan and learn the plan and it's got to become second nature to us. And then when you're emotionally ready to go, you can perform at a high level.
Are you still waiting for this week to play out to kind of learn more about Jawan Arrington, Brady Oliveira, Warren Smith, their availability?
Yeah, I think most of those guys will be back. We're pretty happy with the weekend. We had a off day yesterday, which helped, and we're going to keep monitoring it. But we're happy with the progress on Brady and Awari at this point.
How about Wyoming's quarterback? What are you expecting? I know he's kind of winged it around at Indiana.
Yeah, you try to study him as best you can, but once again, different offensive philosophies. We know he's talented, very talented, and hopefully we can play sound, because like that position, if you get off to a good start, probably no different than a pitcher in baseball or a shooter and shooting guard in basketball. If you get off to a hot start, that seems to give you a lot more confidence and you really start rolling and can execute better. If we can be sound in our coverages and make them earn things, I think that will help us to, challenge him to move the offense as best we can. We just can't afford explosive plays. We know that going into the game. We got to get some explosive plays, and we sure don't want to allow any.
How about their running backs? Are either of those guys home run types? Are they power guys? Mixed?
Yeah, they are. They're a combination. They run for power, and they're very hard to bring down in the open field. And we're familiar with Brian Hill. He was close to us when we were down at Southern Illinois in the recruiting process, and knew of him. And he's pretty electric when you watch him compete in 2014. He makes a lot of big plays, makes people miss in the Mountain West, and runs through tackles. So he's a really good combination of power and speed, and we feel like that'll be a big challenge for our defense to kind of limit those yards and limit those big plays by their running backs.
Coach, I know this is the first time UND and Wyoming have met, but you personally, have you ever been out there to the venue at all and you know anything about it?
Yeah, it's a long time ago. I was out there back in the early 90s. We were playing the Tilt 43 defense, and Del White, a former coach at UND, was the defensive coordinator out there. So we visited that time, and then one other time, been out there, never been there for a game, been there for a spring game, so it's going to be a lot different than my experiences out at Wyoming. And but we're excited. We look forward to it. We know that they draw very well and have a crowd that backs them really well, and exciting environments are fun to play in. And we're hoping our team embraces it, yet still focuses on the task at hand.
Coach, last season, team took steps, used the off-season, fall camp, take some more steps. What are some of the steps that you'd like to see this team take, game one and this season ahead? What are some of the things that you're looking as a staff at seeing this team take another step in its progression?
Well, we got to be more consistent football team. We looked at our 14 season, and third down was a down we needed to be better on, both offensively and defensively. And we practiced hard on that. We got to be better in the red zone, and I think every team looks at the red zone that they got to be better. But we worked hard on those situations. But two things that we really want to focus on early in the year, we've got to be able to find a way to make explosive plays, to change field position for the way we play and more consistent offensive performance. And defensively, we got to limit explosive plays. If you give up a third down is one thing on 3rd and 7, but if you allow that team to get the first down plus change field position, now you're dealing with a whole different set of circumstances. So that's what we're looking for early in the season. A couple things you look for in your team. You want your team to be really composed in adverse situations. So we know there's going to be adversity in the game this Saturday, like there is every week that you play, and we're looking for our guys to really show some maturity and be able to handle those situations. And it's challenging. Like I said before, we have 25 guys or more that haven't played or haven't gone on a road trip with our football team. So we've got to really work hard and rehearse those situations that we handle them as best we can.